Real quick, in this video I'm going to be breaking down my favourite parts of Heroes, from favourite season, favourite episode, favourite character, and the show's diversity, explaining why it is one of the all-time greats. So, if you're a Heroes fan, you might want to stick around. Let's go! Yep, this chair is not a spinny chair. Heroes is a show I latched onto quickly. Like, it came out in the mid-noughties, and you had films like X-Men and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films going out onto the big screen, but Heroes offered all that superhero goodness in the comfort of your own home. And not only that, but it was a lot more grown up, and as far as superhero things can go, it was so much more grounded in reality. It was grittier, darker, it wasn't as cheesy as the Spider-Man films or the X-Men films were. Following that everyday human side of gaining powers rather than the fantastical living to be the hero saving the day. Of course, it kind of did eventually transform into that. I love the Maguire Spider-Man films, and I love the noughties X-Men films as well. But the later we got into the noughties, obviously the older I became, and I guess I started to kind of outgrow what it was I was watching before and crave something a little deeper with a bit more meaning to it. And Heroes definitely completely offered that. And let's start by talking my favourite season to kind of really get into that. So my favourite season, as I'm sure for anyone who has ever watched Heroes, is season 1. It is pinnacle Heroes, and it's kind of a shame because it never really got better than that first season. And you know, the story was initially really slow paced in season 1, but what that did is it allowed us to really get to know these characters, because there are a hella lot of characters, and Heroes offered that time for us to get to know each and every one of them, so much so that I can't really say there is a standout lead character. I'm sure people have an idea of who they think the lead character is, but for me, I don't think anyone really ever led that show because everybody was so well rounded out. But after the mid-season episode Homecoming, everything just really picked up. Most notably getting a villain in the form of Sylar, a character who up until that point had just been a name and a trail of dead bodies. Gruesome dead bodies. My favourite episodes in Heroes are, I've got two, The Joint. We've got season 1's 5 Years Gone and season 3's An Invisible Thread. What 5 Years Gone did that I really loved was that so close to the end of the first season, it reinforced what the stakes were for our heroes, that if they didn't take decisive action, bang goes New York, and we're living in this future where evil has taken over. And this future that in the present day they're currently fighting to prevent is still a possibility. And also because we'd been with these characters for so long up until that point as well, it was great to see how they were affected 5 years in the future, how they had changed, what they had become, and what we may worry them to becoming. That's good, I think I said enough. I think there's enough in there. And then moving on to the episode An Invisible Thread, that really closed off the arc of the villain that is Sylar. I think this humbled him, and the traumatic experience of having his mind taken away from his body, and his body and what was left of his mind turned into someone completely different, kind of showed him that, you know, the path he had been walking down was only ever going to lead him to ruin, and he needs to atone for that. It also took the show to a new level of morally grey, which it hadn't quite entered yet. You know, seeing what a parent is willing to do just to keep their son with them. Even though it ain't her son anymore, it is a different person masquerading, and the evil villain that is Sylar could come out at any point. And to anybody that has never watched Heroes and you're watching this video and you've gotten to this point, you're probably thinking, what fucking happened in this show? Go watch it, go find out. So my favourite characters are both Sylar and Hero. I can't really choose between them. I think more Sylar. He sort of had this charm that all psychopaths have that was very strangely alluring, but at the same time he had this tragic life behind him that had traumatized him to no end. And I really love the exploration of his character within season 3 and the eventual humanizing of him in season 4. What was really enjoyable about his overall arc was that it spotlighted people can come back from extreme trauma and being controlled by these unimaginable forces of evil. But let's not forget that Sylar is still a villain, and he did very consciously and knowingly murder a hell of a lot of people, and so I'm in no way idolizing him. I was just impressed impressed that the writing allowed for such a character to come back and be himself again. So Hiro is also up there as one of my favourite characters, and I love that he is always ready to just answer the hero's call no matter what. He will do what is for the greater good or for a person over what is good for him. Even in season 4, when he is facing down the barrel of his own death, he still wants to help others before getting himself sorted, which, how can you not love that? Also, yatta! Yatta! I think that the show's diversity is also really impressive, and it's another reason as to why I really love Heroes. It can be stereotypical at some points, and I'm not really going to go into that because I want to go into the positives about it instead. And what really stood out about the show's diversity for me is that characters who come from a non-English speaking country speak their own language, and it is subtitled for us English speaking simpletons. And that's important because it normalised who these characters are into the very fabric of the show, and added a level of authenticity that many other shows won't go to the trouble of. It also made Heroes a global story, like it wasn't just centered in America. Sure, most of the plot and most of the characters are from America, but having these other characters from different countries coming in to help what is a global crisis, especially in season 1, just gave it a larger scale. I kind of like to link it to the Avengers and Loki and how he wants to have dominion over Earth, but all the action gets stuck in America and at the end in New York. And yeah, Heroes, yeah, sure, the season finale of season 1 is all set in New York, but having these characters coming from different countries trying to stop this global catastrophe happening throws the scale of Heroes into a global phenomenon. That's even the right phrasing. Hey, we're sticking with that. Look, if you've never seen Heroes, go out and watch it right now. Seriously, do it. You've got time. You're at home. Watch Heroes. Definitely watch season 1. It is brilliant. And if you're invested by then in the characters, go ahead and check out seasons 2, 3, and 4. As I say, they don't quite reach the height of season 1, but if you're invested, you'll enjoy it. So this video has been part of my top 10 TV shows of all time, of which Heroes placed at number 4. If you fancy catching some of the back episodes, you can just click for this playlist. It's going to be somewhere on the screen. Next week, we're going to be going into place number 3, and we're going to need some Sky Bisons because we're flying off to Republic City. So maybe I'll catch you there. Hakuna MaChatter.